Hey everybody, welcome to C Notes Media Madness, and I'm your host C Note, and we're going to be testing, doing a bunch of. So I'm trying to do some YouTube videos, some IGTV and stuff like that. So I'm just going to be testing some things. If you're watching this, hopefully everything cropped correctly on IGTV. If you're watching it on YouTube, everything should be normal. But there's a reason. That's why I'm standing back so far, because maybe I can just like crop the sides and everything will work out okay. We'll see how that goes. And then if you're listening on the podcast version, then don't worry about it so much. Today I wanted to talk about Myers-Briggs and being able to use it as a tool for personal development and understanding what it is and why it is. What it is and why it is, really, why it exists and how it can help you. And the reason for that is I've done courses lately for Myers-Briggs. There's an easy mode course at cnote.media, and there's also an advanced course if you already know quite a bit about Myers-Briggs and want to dive into the nuances of cognitive functions, thinking versus feeling, things like that, and kind of get a little bit more in depth with this stuff. For the most part, Myers-Briggs has been a game changer for me in terms of understanding myself and making me feel like I'm not crazy. As an INTP, I'm someone that is sort of naturally averse to society and to a lot of thoughts, and I challenge people. And there's a lot often going on when it comes to my connection to people. And luckily, I've been raised by an ESFJ. My dad is a sales guy. He's also someone he's very personable. And I was able to develop some business skills as a result of working with him on that stuff. But being naturally an INTP, I've always struggled with this idea of feeling so burnt out by projecting that kind of extroversion, and it just doesn't work for me long term. It's not sustainable. I've had issues with working with clients. I've had issues with connecting with people. I've had issues with relationships. And because of my natural sense of who I am, I've tried to be someone I'm not, and it's been hurting more than it's helping. You always hear the phrase fake it till you make it. And I don't think that always works. I don't think that's true. I think you can certainly develop skills in areas, but there is a natural there's a natural superpower that each of us has. And that is really what Myers-Briggs can kind of help unlock and understand, is what that superpower naturally is for you and how to nurture it, especially when you talk about your first and second functions when it comes to cognitive functions, to really understand more of who you are and what it is that you're trying to do in life. And sometimes it can help you understand why you're clashing with your partner, why you're clashing with coworkers, why you might be clashing in certain areas of life. Maybe you're going down a certain life path, a certain career, and something's just not clicking. It doesn't feel right. Something feels off. You feel a sense of anxiety. Something's just not clicking, and nothing ever really clicks. And that might be because you haven't been influenced by the people around you to nurture your dominant strengths. If you're someone who leads with extroverted intuition, for example, like an ENTP or an ENFP, and you were raised by introverted sensors, for example, you might not have as much of an opportunity to naturally express that intuition and develop it. And just because you lead with a dominant strength doesn't mean you're going to naturally just be automatically the greatest at it. You still need to nurture it. You still need to grow, but it's your most natural sense of being. So when you start to understand the most natural part of who you are, you're able to learn how to lean into it and nurture it and strengthen it. And the same with your auxiliary, your secondary function. Being able to learn what that is gives you the best opportunity for growth, to balance your introvert and extrovert energy, to be able to move the needle in the right direction. It's not indicative of introvert or extrovert. It is a matter of whether or not your introvert or extrovert attitude leans towards, feeling and people and that sort of stuff. Because even extroverts are not always people focused. They might be more comfortable around a lot of people, but they might not be focused on people and emotions and things like that. So generally the purpose of Myers-Briggs and MBTI, Carl Jung's cognitive functions, is to help someone understand who they are at their base level. Meaning, what gift did God or the universe or whatever it is that you believe in give you at birth? Because it's seemingly randomized. I don't know if that's the case, honestly, but we're all born into to be different types of people. And certainly it's good to find ways to adapt. You need to adapt to society. It's a survival mechanism to be able to do that. But there are sometimes there are situations where we are introduced so much to the opposite idea, to maybe our inferior functions, things that are not natural to us, that we end up being so entrenched in that type of being that we do not nurture our natural self. We do not nurture who we naturally are as a person. And, we kind of develop kind of backwards or strangely or something like that. And it can become issues. It can become an issue. If we're not able to naturally nurture our dominant and secondary strengths, it can lead to a lot of anxiety and depression and difficult mental health issues. So it's certainly important to understand that that your Myers-Briggs type is about understanding your base level of who you are. It's not going to uncover all of the psyche that you've developed over the years. If you have trauma, if you have psychological damage, quote unquote, or baggage or anything that you're dealing with, it's going to take time for you to uncover all of those things in order to type yourself correctly. I just spoke to two INFJs who have both had difficult times typing themselves because, well, they don't understand the nuances of Myers-Briggs. They just see the types. I had one was a male, one was a female. It seemed like the male was very averse to being a feeling type. He just felt like he was more of a thinker and wanted to be projected and seen as that. But certainly a lot of the language he was using led me to believe that he was a feeler. Like 90% sure he's an INFJ, based on a lot of things that he says, a lot of subconscious behaviors and things that I've learned over time about studying INFJs and their behaviors and things like that. And the same with the female. She was having a difficult time. She felt like she was identifying more as a thinker, and but through subtle behavior, she wasn't aware that she was using a lot of extroverted feeling. So sometimes getting someone else to help you type yourself is going to be important in order to get an accurate result, because you can take tests, you can read descriptions, and if you read descriptions and do a lot of research, you find the one that gives you the most sense of relief. But if you really talk to someone who knows what they're doing and can look at your subconscious word choices or your body language or the way that you speak, the words that you choose, stuff like that, they can really start to pinpoint your subconscious behavior, because that's really what it is. It's about identifying your most natural subconscious behavior, who you are at the core of your being, not something that is necessarily influenced by your parents, your mother, your sister, your brother, etc., but who you are at the core of it. If you were to strip away everything that you've ever come across in your life and just get to the core of your being, and sometimes questions on tests can have a hard time getting to that because it's up to you. You're answering questions about yourself, and you may be only referencing the introvert part of you. You may be only referencing a part that you've had more access to in your life. So it's difficult. It takes time. So it's important to understand that the tests are not going to be something that gives you the absolute result every single time. If you take multiple tests and you get multiple responses, then that's a red flag, and you need to kind of do some self-discovery and read some descriptions or work with a professional such as me. If you're interested in that, you can click the link below and or above, depending on what platform you're on, and we can set up a session to help you understand which type you are. But that's the core of it. It's about understanding the core sense of yourself, because it's not something that's going to erase the past. It can maybe help you understand the past a little bit more and some of the decisions you've made. But for the most part, it is going to be about understanding who you are so you can take the reins in your life now. Someone who is a little bit older in your life. I mean older than 25 when I say that, because we get to a point where we're old enough to start making our own decisions, and we start realizing we're making other people's decisions because we've had a lot of bias put on ourselves. But understanding your Myers-Briggs type can give you a sense of direction to start to kind of tune your life into a path that feels the most natural to you, mixed with some of the things that you've learned in life. So I'm going to wrap it up because I'm hitting the 10-minute mark, but I appreciate you guys. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up. Go to cnote.media to check out the courses that I have, and feel free to click the link if you're interested in a one-on-one type session. So that's it. I'll catch you guys later.